Hi, so I'm here with Rana Gujral, who's the CEO of Behavioral Signals. They build AI that reads intent, emotion, and risk from the human voice. He's also written a book, The AI Instincts, which I believe is out with Wiley in August. So, Rana, really pleased you could join us today. So,
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Really glad to be here.
great. So you wrote recently about a pattern. You said that AI is a tool that looks great in testing. It goes live and then behaves nothing like the tests predicted, right? So what should a business leader be asking a vendor to avoid that situation?
Honestly, I think a lot of responsible AI talk lives at the altitude of principles: fairness, transparency, accountability. They're beautiful words. They don't survive contact with a Tuesday morning product decision. So when I think about what it actually looks like in practice, I try to push it down to the level of design choices and habits. So on the system side, it's guardrails baked into the decision modules, ask before acting on high stakes or ambiguous calls. Show evidence and alternatives, including the options the system rejected, and importantly, why. Expose uncertainty. Don't just hand back a confident answer. Make rollback a first class feature, because if you can't undo an automated action, you don't really have oversight. You have hope, and that's not good enough. And then there's the explanation layer, right? So raw transparency is mostly useless. Dumping weights or logs on a clinician or a loan officer is not accountability. I mean, human thinks in contrastive terms. I mean, why this and not that? What if I change X? So explanations have to be structured the way people actually reason.
What do you think are some of the questions that buyers should be asking but are not asking? Like, what insights do you have into the sorts of questions people should be really looking at?
Yeah, the question I almost never hear buyers ask is, and it's the one I'd lead with, is what does the system do when it's wrong? Not how accurate is it, not what's the benchmark score, what happens on the bad day, because every demo is built around the good day. And the second question, and this one's underrated, what priors does the system assume? Like, sounds academic, but it's not. Like, every model carries some assumptions about the world, about the user, about what a normal input looks like. And if you're deploying, say, in healthcare, say, in defense, in financial services, those priors determine if it will fail silently and where it will fail silently. And most vendors can't even articulate them, and that tells you something.
Mm. So, what is it they should be listening for? And I guess from your answer, it's kind of silence on things as well as things that people are saying is what people should be looking out for, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the silences are often more revealing than pitch. When a vendor can't articulate their failure modes, that silence is data. When nobody on the team can tell you what assumptions the model is making about the user, that silence is data. So when you ask about rollback and you get a pause followed by, well, in practice, that hasn't really come up, that's the loud silence.
Okay. So, I guess you've seen probably a lot of rollouts in your time that have failed and some that have succeeded. What do you think is the most common reason a rollout fails to deliver?
Yeah, I've seen plenty on both sides. And if I had to name the single most common reason rollouts fail, it's not the model. It's almost never the model. It's that the organizations treat the AI as a feature instead of as a participant in the workflow. And what I mean by that is, like, say a team buys or builds a capability, plugs it into an existing process, and assumes the surrounding humans, incentives, and the feedback loop will just absorb it. They don't, right? So the workflow was designed for human judgment with human cadence, human escalation paths, human patterns, and you drop in a system that fails differently at a different rate in different places, and suddenly the seams show. So people don't know when to trust it, when to override it, when to escalate. So they either over defer or quietly route around it. Both kill the rollout. One produces bad outcomes and the other produces no outcomes.
Okay. I'd like to get into a little bit about the book. So, I mean, you yourself have sat on both sides here, right? So you've been an operator and a seller in this space. What do you think it is that separates the businesses that get results from AI and the ones that don't? Is it tools, process? Is it something else?
Yeah, having sat on both sides, the pattern's pretty clear to me, and it's almost never about the tools. The tooling gap between the winners and losers is much smaller than people think. I mean, everyone has access to roughly the same models, roughly the same APIs, roughly the same vendors, and the differentiation is somewhere else entirely, in my opinion. So what I see in the business that actually gets result is that they treat AI as a judgment problem, not as a a technology problem. So they start with specific decision in their business that matters. I mean, claim approval, a collections call, a triage step, a hiding screen, whatever that is, right? So they get obsessive about understanding that decision. What does good look like, and what does failure cost, and where the humans currently weak? Where are the humans currently weak? Where are they strong? And only then do they ask where AI fits inside that loop. The losers do it backwards, and I see that a lot. I mean, they start with the model, then go hunting for a problem worthy of it. That almost always ends in a pilot that demos well and dies quietly. The second thing, and this is the one I really believe in, is that the winners build for continuity. I mean, they're not chasing a single clever output. They're building systems that get smarter about their own context over time. I mean, they're capturing what worked, what didn't, where the model was confidently wrong. And I think, Terry, I think that accumulated experience becomes a real asset. I mean, the losers ship the model and walk away, and 6 months later, it's drifted and no one's noticed.
Yeah, so I think what you're talking about there is really what your book is all about. Is this thing that the thing changing isn't the tools, it's how decisions are being made, right? If I understand your book correctly. But maybe you could just synthesize for me, what is the core idea here in the book, the AI, in just plain terms?
Yeah, you've actually framed it pretty well. I mean, the tool isn't the story, the decision loop is the story. So in plain terms, the core idea of the book is this. When we've been asking the wrong question about AI, everyone's fixated on when does AGI arrive? I mean, how many times have you heard that question? Like, when do machines match or exceed human intelligence? And I think that question is incomplete, frankly, because intelligence without experience is hollow. I mean, a system can produce a brilliant sounding answer, have no relationship to what happens next. I mean, no memory of being wrong, no update from consequence, no skin in the game. And so what I do is I introduce this idea that I call artificial general experience, or AGE. And the argument is that if AI is going to sit inside the human decision making, and it already is, then what matters isn't just how clever it sounds in the moment. What matters is what using it does to you over time. I think that's the main idea. Does it sharpen your judgment, or does it give you a convincing stream of outputs that feel like thinking without actually building any, thought process? And that distinction is everything. Honestly, it's reshaping the terrain where decisions form before we even know a decision is being made. Here's what I mean. Most people picture AI's influence as the moment you ask a chatbot something and it gives you an answer. That's the visible layer, right? The conscious layer. But that's maybe the top inch of what's actually happening. Neuroscience tells us that the vast majority of what we call thinking, the perception, the pattern recognition, the emotional weighting, all of that happens below the conscious awareness. It's the submerged ocean under the surface of, what I would call me. And that's the layer AI is increasingly touching. So what is it doing to us? 3 things, I'd say. Okay. So 1, it's personalizing persuasion. When a system mirrors your tone, finishes your sentence, adjusts to your hesitation, influence stops feeling external. It feels like you, right? It's a profound shift. The system learns your triggers faster than you learn its methods. So 2, it's creating what I call consent drift. Every okay, every agree, every frictionless tap turns consent into performance rather than deliberation. You're not really choosing anymore. You're confirming a prediction the system already made about you, and you're not realizing that. And 3, and this is the one that keeps me up at night, is atrophying the habit of refusal. Even if you believe humans have genuine agency is a practice muscle. If every path in front of you is optimized for comfort, you stop exercising the capacity to push back against prediction. I mean, the power to refuse may still technically exist, but the habit of refusal quietly disappears. So my thesis, if I had to compress it in like one or two lines, I mean, AI isn't taking over our thinking through some dramatic rupture. It's slowly moving upstream of it. I mean, from answering our questions to shaping what we notice to influencing what we want before we know what we wanted. That's the real story, and not what AI is doing in front of us. It's, what is it doing behind us? That's the story.
And what are the implications of this, Rana?
Well, I mean, implications stretch across every layer of life, but let me name the ones I think matter most. I mean, first, in inequality. I mean, the history of technology doesn't actually show us that the existential failure is the dominant risk. It shows us that inequality is. So if hybrid cognition becomes real, if some people get access to cognitive extensions, neural interfaces, AI copilots that genuinely amplify their thinking and others don't, the future doesn't fracture into humans versus machines. It fractures into what I would call enhanced and unenhanced humans. I mean, that's a far more dangerous divide because it cuts straight through what we've always assumed was a level cognitive playing field. And the second, I mean, that's equally, I'd say, concerning is identity, right? So when a system is co-authoring your choices, your moods, even your attention, the question, who am I, stops being a philosophical exercise. It becomes a practical daily question. I mean, if a neural implant is dampening your anxiety and also as a side effect, making you more, say, compliant to external suggestions, I mean, who owns the resulting choice? You, the system, both? Agency is now, then in that case, it's a contested space. I mean, and rights is a third one. I mean, traditional privacy law protects you what you say or type. It doesn't protect what you think before you express it, right? We don't have rights for that yet. And we've already at a point where neural decoding can reconstruct words and images from brain activity. I mean, Chile has actually amended its constitution to protect mental integrity. I mean, most countries haven't even started that conversation. We need cognitive liberty as a baseline right, not as an afterthought.
Okay. I'd like to bring this back, I guess, to the practical layer here. I think what you're saying makes an awful lot of sense. It sounds quite depressing, if I'm quite honest. But if you are, an operator right now and you're running a business, what do I do with that information? Like, what's a practical thing I can take away from this? Like what I do on Monday morning with this information.
Yeah, fair. I mean, it can sound heavy, but I actually think the operator's version of this is pretty actionable. I mean, let me give you the Monday morning version. First thing, I mean, pick one decision in your business and map it, not your whole workflow, one decision. A pricing call, refund approval, a lead qualification, whatever you're doing. I mean, write down who decides today and what inputs they use, what good looks like, what failure cost. And most operators have never actually done this before the decision AI is quietly influencing. You can't govern what you haven't named, right? And second, put AI in that loop with a clear role. I mean, is it advising, drafting, filtering, deciding? I mean, those are very different postures for very different risk profiles. I mean, the mistakes I see all the time is companies sliding from advising to deciding without anyone noticing. I mean, the model started as a suggestion engine, and 6 months later, nobody overrides it. The drift is the thing I'd watch for. I mean, name the role, write it down, revisit it. I mean, forget about a business. I mean, I would say, Terry, I mean, your use case, everyone's using LLMs for mundane things now. You're starting to use it to filter your emails and respond to that and just general communication. But has it started deciding what you have to say now? How do you respond? How you think? I mean, have you paused to notice that?
Mhm.
The answer is yes. And also the answer is that you haven't yet paused to notice it. I mean, and most of us haven't. And I think that's something that's happening very, very gradually. It's in the loop, in the decision loop, which I think we need to start to think about.
Keen to extract from you is what you see as the blockers here. Like what are the impediments to change?
Yeah, the blockers are interesting because, I mean, they're rarely the ones people name in the boardroom. I mean, when leadership, say, lists obstacles, you hear data quality, talent shortage, I've heard regulatory uncertainty quite a bit. I mean, integration cost. I mean, those are real. I'm not, diminishing those, but they're not what's actually stopping change. I mean, they're what I'd say is that's comfortable to talk about. I mean, the real blockers, in my experience, sit deeper. And the first is what I would call decision opacity. Most orgs don't actually know how their important decisions get made today. I mean, ask a bank how a credit call really happens, or a hospital how a triage pathway actually flows. And you'll get an org chart and a policy document, but the real decision lives in 100 small human judgments that nobody has mapped. I mean, you can't insert AI meaningfully into a loop you don't even understand. I mean, so change stalls not because AI is bad, but because the current state was never made legible in the first place. The second blocker is accountability ambiguity. I mean, the moment a system participates in a decision, the question of who owns the outcome gets murky. I write about this in the book, by the way. I mean, when something goes wrong, is it the engineer? Is it the operator? Is it the vendor? The executive who approved the deployment? Which one, right? Organizations sense this ambiguity.
Is there a fix for that, Rana? Like, is there an obvious answer to that?
I wish there were. I mean, and honestly, that's the part why I wrote the book. I mean, the obvious answer most people reach for is some version of build smarter machines and get to AGI and figure out alignment, and I think we'll be fine. But I think that framing is itself the problem. If you ask me what the obvious answer is, I mean, I think it's this. I mean, we've been asking the wrong question. Everyone's debating how do we get there when the definition of there is wrong. If we keep treating AGI like a finish line, I mean, some standalone machine that wakes up one day and either saves us or replaces us, but that's not the whole trajectory I see personally playing out. I mean, what I see actually every day in the systems I build and the systems I use is hybrid cognition, human and machine intelligence fusing, and already it's happening right now.
Okay, I'm going to switch gears a little bit before we come to a close, but I want to talk about deepfakes. So voice deepfakes are a live attack vector. Now, clone voice cases, the Rubio one, and you work on detection, if I understand this, right? Like you can figure this out. So how real is this for a business that isn't a bank or a government?
It's very real, and it's real today. I mean, I'd say most businesses are underestimating how exposed they are. The Rubio case got headlines because of who it was, right? The more telling stories are the boring ones. I mean, the examples of mid-sized companies where a finance manager gets a voicemail from the CEO asking for an urgent wire. The HR leads who gets the call from an employee wanting to redirect their direct deposit. The IT help desk where someone called in actually sounding like a senior exec and asked for an MFA reset. None of those make the news. I mean, all of them are happening. I mean, trust me, they're happening. I mean, because we know of those. I mean, thing I keep trying to get operators to internalize is that we've crossed a threshold. I mean, hearing is no longer believing. I mean, the Wall Street Journal ran a story earlier this year about a mother who got a panic call that sounded exactly like her daughter. It wasn't. It was a synthetic clone, and the barrier to making one is now embarrassingly low. I mean, Levin Labs, Meta Voice, Open Voice, these tools are openly available. You just need a few seconds of audio from a podcast or a webinar or a LinkedIn video or even like a small IG reel to just create something super convincing.
So, I mean, assuming that's true, that's alarming, right? That's very alarming to hear if you're a mid-market business owner, right? And you've got that risk now that you've got to mitigate. What's your advice to them? Like, what should they be doing?
I mean, yeah, and I don't want to soft pedal it. I mean, the risk is real, but I also don't think the mid-market operators are as exposed as they feel if they move with a little bit of intention. I mean, let me give you what I'd actually tell a founder or CEO in that seat. I mean, start with what I'd call epistemic humility at the org level. I mean, treat every AI output as a probabilistic aid, not as an oracle. That sounds philosophical, but it shows up in very concrete ways. I mean, it means your team is trained to ask, what evidence would contradict this? It means nobody, including the CEO, gets to say, hey, the model said so as a final answer. I mean, that cultural posture costs you nothing and is the single biggest protection against the kind of quiet drift that sinks companies. So I think, well, if I think about it, the second one, I mean, pick your exposure deliberately. Like, not every decision in your business deserves AI participation, and not every decision deserves the same level of it. I'd map your decisions on two axes: reversibility and stakes. I mean, high stakes, low reversibility. That's where the humans stay firmly in the loop, and the AI is advisory only. Low stakes, high reversibility, let the system run, learn fast, iterate. So I'd say, those are some of the things we need to start to think about.
Great. So last one from me. So I read that you asked your advanced readers of your book to tell you not what they liked, but where they pushed back. I quite like that. So what was the pushback you heard? Like, what did people come back with?
I mean, I did that deliberately because the praise tells you nothing useful, right? I mean, the pushback tells you where your argument is thin or where the reader's lived experience doesn't match the frame you've built. And I got some really sharp pushback, which I'm grateful for. The biggest one by far was around suffering. I make this argument in the book that we shouldn't engineer suffering out of the human experience entirely. I mean, that pain carries information, that grief and struggle are part of what makes life meaningful, and that a permanently blissful mind might actually be less alive. And several readers came back hard on that, and they said, like, easy for you to say. What about chronic pain? I mean, what about treatment-resistant depression? What about trauma that doesn't metabolize? I mean, that just destroys people, right? And are you going to tell people that their suffering is sacred? And so the pushback made me sharpen the argument. So I'm not romanticizing suffering. I'm distinguishing between suffering that's informative and suffering that's just damage. I mean, the former deserves protection. The latter deserves intervention, but I had to do more work to make that line visible. I mean, the second pushback I got was on agency. I leaned pretty hard on this idea that we have to preserve human agency in hybrid systems. And a few readers, mostly the cognitive scientists, said, what agency? I mean, you're defending something philosophers have been arguing doesn't really exist in the form that you're describing. And that sat with me for a while. My response is essentially, even if agency is partly a useful fiction, it's the fiction worth defending. I mean, because the alternative is a society that treats people as fully predictable objects to be optimized. But, I think that was a fair hit.
There's so much that you raise in your book that really touches on sort of existential philosophical questions, I think. But if we can land on in the end, really bring it back to the practical, like, is there a single message that you could tell our audience, which is your mid-market operators, right, to do differently on Monday? What's the one thing or the one practical thing you might advise them to do on the back of your research and learnings from writing this book?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's long enough that, so I'd say, let's think about it in 3 layers, right? So layer 1 is your decision architecture. I mean, the next, like, say, 18 months or so, I mean, AI is going to move from sitting next to decisions to sitting inside them. That transition happens whether you plan for it or not. It's going to happen. I mean, so the leadership work right now is to inventory where that's already happening in your org and to be deliberate about which decisions you want. And you have to think about that. I mean, AI participating in and which you don't want it to participate in. And I'd actually write down a short list of decisions that stay human only, no matter how good the model gets. I mean, hiring judgment calls, firing, major capital allocation, things tied to your values. That should be the ones. I mean, naming those upfront protects you from the drift problem. 2 is talent posture, right? So the skill that's about to be scarce isn't prompting, it's verification. I mean, people who can look at a confident output and know what to stress test, what to override, what to trust. That's a muscle you build through reps, not training videos, right? So I'd be giving my team real exposure to AI in the loop decisions now with stakes, with feedback. So they develop the instincts before the systems get more persuasive, because they will get more persuasive. I mean, that's the curve. So 3, and this is, I think, the one most leaders underweight, is what I call cognitive sovereignty for the org. Meaning, can your company still think independently if the AI layer went away tomorrow? Right? Can your analysts still analyze? Can your writers still write? Can your strategist still strategize? I mean, if the answer is no, you've outsourced something you didn't mean to outsource. I mean, I think the leaders who get this right over the next 18 months are the ones who use AI to amplify thinking, not replace the conditions under which thinking happens. I mean, and practically, run a quarterly review on these 3 questions. I mean, where did AI make us faster? What did it make us worse on? and we didn't notice? And what did we learn? And did we learn if we couldn't that we couldn't have learned without it? I mean, if you can answer those three honestly every quarter, I think you'll be ahead of the 90% of the game. And I think that's the rest is just execution.
Yeah, so it sounds like, self-awareness around what you're building with AI and certainly building in accountability mechanisms into your own organization around this is going to be key. Okay, Rana, that's really helpful. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your insights. I think we'll wrap it up there. So thanks very much.
Thank you so much.